When your AC stops working, just call the experts at KS Services Heating and Air. They're fast and affordable. Right now, purchase any Bryant energy efficient system and save with 0% interest for 60 months with approved credit. It comes included with a 5-year labor warranty. And our fair price guarantee means that we will always give you 3 quotes for every situation. A good, better, and best. Call KS Services Heating and Air today. We roll on, whatever it takes.
I'm meteorologist Brian Peters with a look at your Alabama weather for Sunday, September the 10th, and a lot of weather we have. Satellite image this morning shows that basically all but the southeastern quadrant of the state of Alabama is clear this morning. The wind picking up a little bit as we see the pressure gradient between the large high-pressure system at the surface over the central Great Lakes being squeezed between that and the low pressure of Irma in the vicinity of the southern part of the Florida Keys. In the upper atmosphere, we have basically a very large upper low in the reflection of Irma over the Keys part of Florida, and otherwise we have a bit of a trough over the eastern part of the country with a ridge still over the central and along the eastern slopes of the Rockies. As I mentioned, the pressure gradient is getting tighter, and we're seeing the wind begin to pick up. And, of course, we're already being influenced by Irma, as you can see from the wind barbs on the chart. Temperatures this morning starting out generally in the lower 60s across central Alabama, a little bit cooler up in the northeast part of the state. The watch warning map would not be active if it were not for what's going on with Irma down across the state of Florida and the southeastern U.S. In the northwestern part of the United States, we have air quality issues as well as high fire danger. But across the southeastern U.S. and the state of Florida, we have a lot of hurricane warnings, tropical storm warnings, tropical storm watches, flash flood watches, just a little bit of everything. Tropical storm warning is in effect for basically the area to the east of I-65 in the eastern part of central Alabama, all the way from Gadsden down to Troy and Eufaula. It does not include Jefferson or Shelby counties, so I hate to use I-65, but that's a pretty good demarcation to define those counties. QPF, we're looking at on the order of another 10 inches of rain over the state of Florida in the next 5 days. This goes through Friday morning. Across Alabama, we're going to have a very sharp gradient with on the order of 3 to 5 inches along the eastern half of the state and then 1 to 3 inches across the western half of the state. The WPC guys have outlooked all of the state of Florida and a little bit of southeastern Georgia for high risk for excessive rainfall. Storm Prediction Center has an enhanced risk over the Florida Peninsula on the east coast, primarily from Miami up to about Melbourne, and that is for day 1. For day 2, we have a slight risk over the Southeast U.S. coast, the South Carolina and Georgia coastlines. And then for day 3, the marginal risk is over North Carolina. So fortunately, the tornado risk for Alabama is fairly small. In the tropics, we've gotten rid of Katia, but we still have Irma and Jose. I think Jose is looking to become one of the longest-lived storms ever in the Atlantic Basin. And then we have a large area of disturbed weather that has come off the African coast. The track of Irma will take it up along the west coast of Florida and finally into the Big Bend area of Florida just to the south of Tallahassee on Monday, and then moving it across Alabama as a tropical storm on Tuesday, but diminishing to a depression by the time it gets to West Tennessee on Wednesday. In the meantime, Jose is going to be making a loop out there in the Atlantic between Bermuda and the Bahamas. And the area of disturbed weather out just off the African coast and south of the Cape Verde Islands is not showing signs of any development right now. And there was the absolute latest radar image I had of Irma as it comes up towards the southern part of the Keys and may eventually cross that area in just the next several hours. All right, the 060 GFS model run, and there's Irma coming up into the southwest coast of the state of Florida with rain stretching all the way up into North Florida. By the time we get out to Monday at midday, it's the GFS is suggesting it's going to be up into southwestern Georgia. I do believe the Hurricane Center's track is a little to the west of this. As a result, of course, the impacts for our area will be that the eastern half of the state, basically winds of 30 to 50 miles an hour with gusts of 50 to 70 miles an hour. That means down trees and power outages are likely, with probably on the order of 3 to 5 inches of rainfall for the western part of the state and much of the central part of the state. 20 to 30 mile an hour sustained winds with gusts 30 to 50, and that still means power lines and the trees could come down. By Tuesday, Irma is up into the area between Middle and West Tennessee, and in the upper atmosphere, we're showing the reflection of it over the Tennessee portion of the Tennessee River. The reflection of Irma begins to move out Wednesday, but I think Wednesday we'll still see a good chance for showers and thunderstorms in our area as that remains in place. It moves up into and very close to the mid-Atlantic states on Thursday, so good riddance. The reflection at the ground shows some showers out there. In the meantime, you can see Jose making a loop out there in the Atlantic. Friday, the reflection of Irma is still in the vicinity of the mid-Atlantic states, but the ridge over Texas is beginning to pump up into the Great Lakes area, so that should bring us some warmer weather by the end of the week. In the meantime, of course, Jose is still out there in the Atlantic making its loop. The upper air pattern on Saturday shows us still a bit of a troughiness along the East Coast, along the mid-Atlantic states, but Jose coming up, now beginning to move a little bit more in a northerly direction. And then by Sunday, a week from today, we see that Jose is basically off the Carolina coast area, but well out in the Atlantic, so not an immediate threat to land as it continues to move to the north finally after making a very nice loop out in the Atlantic. Looking out into voodoo country, the big news for us is that we see a bit of a ridge over the eastern part of the country with a very substantial trough over the northwest and the west coast area. That trough moves in very nicely by the 22nd of September and moves up into the western Great Lakes. But as it does, we have another one dropping into the northwestern United States and the west coast. In the meantime, of course, this is the 25th of September. Jose is still out there in the Atlantic. That'll do it for the Weather Xtreme video for this morning. The next Weather Xtreme video should be with James Spann first thing tomorrow morning. In the meantime, there's a lot going on, moment-by-moment changes, so stay tuned to the Alabama Weather blog for the latest on what's happening in central Alabama. I'm meteorologist Brian Peters. Have a great day, Godspeed, and please be safe.
AC broken? Just call KS Services Heating and Air. All Bryant energy efficient systems come with a 5-year labor warranty, and our fair price guarantee means that we'll always give you 3 quotes for every situation. Just call KS Services Heating and Air today.